Hey, Dr. Ray here, founder of the Learning Liaisons, and welcome. Welcome to our Wednesday evening math sessions featuring our math specialist and your math specialist, Amy Sink. In the next hour, Amy has put together a sample set of approximately 10 practice questions that run the gamut from kindergarten levels all the way through 12th grade high school math. Now, I know you are attending here, watching this, and you're like, well, I'm doing elementary in Texas, or I'm doing elementary in Praxis, or I'm doing high school math in Florida, or middle school math in Texas. And what's going on here, right? So we're doing these sessions to help you guys out and provide you with different ways to look at problems and to build that confidence. Because here at the Learning Liaisons, one of our major objectives is to clear up the testing confusion, give you the support you deserve in order to nail your exam and be done with it. So our focus is on math. Now, are we going to be just focusing on high school math the whole hour or elementary? No, we've got a mixture here. Now, Amy's going to go through a bunch of problems. You're going to have the opportunity to download those as a PDF. So when Amy starts, just pay attention to the screen. We're going to have a message there for you so you can download the PDF in case we don't get to all the problems or want to practice on your own. She's going to do her best to go across all different grade levels. If you have a question, you feel free to ask Amy your question as well. We're teachers here too, so we can multitask. Our job is to make sure that we give you what you need to be successful. But if you're like, dang it, I didn't have any questions this week, don't worry. We'll be here next Wednesday night as well. So bring those questions with you if you want, and you can ask Amy away. Because here at the Learning Liaisons, we pride ourselves in providing you guys the support you need to pass your exam. So whether you're our Florida teachers here with our FTCE exams, our national exam, Praxis peeps, big shout out to you guys out there too. And especially our newcomers to the Learning Liaisons brand, TExES Prep. So whether you're elementary, middle school, and high school, we've got your back. So sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, get ready to learn some math, and stay tuned for the end because I'm going to jump back on to close this out. And I got a special surprise for you guys who really want to get the real deal prep and get everything you need to be successful and practice, clear up that confusion, and pass your certification exam on the next attempt. So, welcome to the Learning Liaisons community. Always remember, it's when you pass, not if you pass. So without further ado, let's turn it over to the reason why you're here, Amy. You with us, Amy? Let's get going.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday Night Math Night. As Dr. A said, I am Amy Sink, and I am one of the math specialists here at the Learning Liaisons. I am so happy to be back with you. Last week, we were off because it was my birthday and we were celebrating, so that was fun, but I am glad to be back. So, before I get started, I always like to get to know who's in the room. It just helps us with our conversation and how we go, and plus, it's just a lot more fun when I know a little bit about you and I'm not just talking to a blank computer screen. So, with that said, thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. I am a big birthday person. I am going to say that. I love holidays. I don't know what it is, but I love birthdays. I love Christmas. Like, I eat it up. And not for the gifts or the celebration. Like, I love anybody's birthday. Not mine. Anybody's birthday. So I just love birthdays and Christmas. Anyways, without further ado, let me know in the comments. Hey, Denise, good to see you. Where you're from, what test are you prepping for, and what's your favorite holiday? While we're talking about holidays, mine would definitely be birthday or Christmas, with a close second being Thanksgiving. Yeah, those are my top three. So where are you from? What test are you prepping for? And what is your favorite holiday? Let me know in the comments. Like I said, knowing what test you're prepping for is really the most important question, just because it helps me guide our sidebar conversations that we're going to have tonight. One more thing before I get started with the questions. If there's anything that you want to see me review in the upcoming weeks, please let me know in the comment box. That said, it really helps us because if you tell me what you're studying and you're not understanding, then I can include that in our Wednesday sessions. Helps you, helps me, helps everybody in the room. So if you are studying, you're like, man, I really struggle with understanding properties of quadrilaterals, or I really struggle with understanding like student errors with basic division, Whatever it is, let me know. Even if it's just more broad, let me know in the comments, and I will absolutely make sure I include that in the upcoming weeks. A lot of the problems we're going to do tonight were special requests. Math subject area test, FTCE, elementary, middle, high school, which one? Chris, you love Mother's Day. I love that. I love that so much. Math 4 through 8, Houston, Texas. Awesome. 6 through 12, Denise. Got it. Awesome. All right. So let's go ahead and get, hey, Hope, it's good to see you. Hanukkah and Passover. I absolutely love it. My sister and her family are Jewish, and we love celebrating Hanukkah with them. EC6. We have got a good range. Hey, Lauren. Hey, Dolores. We've got a good range in here tonight, which I love. And I will tell you, I've got all my sticky notes down here ready to go. I was creating and solving problems at the school that my mom works at because my car was in the shop. And so she came and picked me up from the dealership. Thank gosh, because I would have been there for hours. So I was literally using sticky notes and like solving and creating problems sitting at her desk. So sorry, Mom, that I used all your sticky notes. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I could sit here and talk to you guys all day. I wish we could have a math party like in my dining room. That would be way more fun than sitting here on a screen. But you know what? It is what it is. So let's go ahead and get started with problem number 1. So there were a lot of requests for geometry for this upcoming week. So here we go. Geometry. A cylindrical container of sand is filled exactly 3/4 of the way full with 127.17 cubic feet of sand. If the height of the container is 6 feet tall, what is the radius of the base of the cylinder? All right, so I'm going to pause. I'm going to draw a quick pic. So it's blurry. Is it blurry for anybody else? Because on my end, it is showing that it is clear. So Denise is saying that it's blurry. Is it blurry for anybody else or not? Because I don't want to start solving it. I'm going to just like write some notes like, hi, is this blurry? Just to see if it's blurry for anyone else. It might be your connection speed. It might be your device. Or it might be that it's blurry and we need to fix it. It's clear on your end. Okay. So sorry, Denise. I don't know how to fix that. I think it might be like sometimes when there's a connection, like if it's a slow connection or something's going on with the internet on your end, it might cause it to be blurry, but it's showing that it's clear for everybody. Well, not for everybody. Chris said it's clear, so we're going to move forward. A cylindrical container. So I'm going to draw. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you guys for checking in and letting me know. I'm going to draw a cylinder. There's my cylinder. It's not the best cylinder, but it'll work. And I know that volume of a cylinder is pi r squared h. Now, you might be thinking, I don't have a formula sheet, and how do you remember that so easily? Here's how. Because I know that a volume of a prism is area of the base times the height of the prism. And a cylinder is really just a circular prism. So if I find the area of the base of my cylinder, pi r squared is the area of a circle, and multiply it times the height, I get volume of a cylinder. I'm telling you right now, I really, really, really try hard not to shove formulas into my head that I don't need. So if I already know the area of a circle and I already know the volume of a prism, there's no reason to shove an extra formula in my head to shuffle through when I'm trying to solve a problem. So anyways, pi r squared h. So I know that volume of the entire cylinder is going to be pi r squared times h. What information did they give me? They said that the cylinder is filled 3/4 of the way up and that equals 127.17 cubic feet. and that the height of the entire cylinder is 6 feet tall, and we are looking for the radius. So I drew a very quick picture with some labels. Now, I could start here. However, the problem with starting there is that I only have one variable. I only have my height. So I could write volume equals pi r squared, h is 6. That's all I have. I don't have the volume of the entire cylinder. And because I don't have the volume of the entire cylinder, then I can't put 127.17 here because 6 represents the height of the entire cylinder. So I need to figure out what the volume of the entire cylinder is first. Then I can find my radius. So how do I do that? Well, I know that this right here is 75% or 3/4 of the entire thing. So if I take my understanding of percentages, decimals, fractions, and put it into an algebraic equation, then I can go ahead and solve this. So I know 127.17 is, and I literally will solve it with this dramatic vocalization that I do with you guys because it helps me solve it. So 127.17 is 3/4 of the volume of the entire thing. Is in this situation means equal. If something is the same as something else, we're setting it equal to, and of means multiply. So if I can translate my words into an algebraic expression, I'm going to be able to figure this out pretty quickly. Now, whether you have a calculator or not is up to like your study guide, your study companion, all that. I'm going to operate in this problem as if we have a calculator. So I'm going to pull out my calculator. In order to get the V by itself, I'm going to divide by 3/4 or multiply both sides by 4/3. If you're more comfortable with decimals and you know that 3/4 equals 0.75, you can also just divide by 0.75. There's a lot of different ways we can do this. So 127.17 times 4 divided by 3 equals 169.56. Now, as I'm solving problems that are a little bit more lengthy like this, I'm going to label everything that I'm doing so that I don't get lost in the weeds. So this is volume of entire cylinder. And I'm gonna shorthand it so I'm not wasting time. Now I can plug that back into my equation. So 169.56 equals pi r squared h. I'm going to multiply the 3.14 and the 6 since multiplication is commutative, which means I can multiply in any order. And you're noticing that I'm giving all of these extra nuggets for my EC6, my elementary people who may not need to know how to find volume of a cylinder, but you certainly need to understand that volume is commutative. So I could multiply the 6 times the 3.14. So 6 times 3.14 equals 18.84. So I have 169.56 equals 18.84 r squared. Divide both sides by 18.84. Elementary people, you need to know how to solve a basic equation. So even if it's not this complex, you definitely need to understand how to solve it. So I'm going to use my calculator. 169.56 divided by 18.84 is 9 equals r squared. square root both sides, r equals 3. So the radius of my base is 3. Any questions about what I just solved? I'm going to go ahead and keep going, but if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. That's why we're here today. Problem number 2. Now, I will say, sometimes I like to create problems and ask multiple questions about the same problem, okay? So I like to create problems where I can ask more than one question so that I can show you that we can start with the same base, but they could ask you a lot of different questions about it. So let's go ahead and go to problem 2. Same cylindrical container. So we're just going to go like this for the sake of time. Copy, paste. All right. Same cylindrical container of sand is filled exactly 3/4 of the way full with 127.17 cubic feet of sand. If the height of the container is 6 feet tall, how much sand would need to be added into the container that already has sand to fill it to capacity? So what we have, and I'm just doing a little bit of math in my calculator, what we have is the same information. We have the height. We don't need the radius, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that. We know that that is the radius if we needed it. We need to know this piece. I'm going to color it orange. How much sand would need to be added to the container to fill it to capacity? There are a few different ways you can solve this. I'm going to show you 2 of them because I like to solve problems in different ways to show you that just because you don't solve the problem the way I do doesn't mean it's wrong. Sometimes we just solve problems differently. Have you guys seen that thing that's floating around social media? It's like that old school picture that we used to look at in elementary school, I feel like. And it's like the young woman and the old woman. And some people can only see one or the other. But then just because you can only see the old woman doesn't mean that the young woman doesn't exist and vice versa. And if you can see it both, that's really cool. But that said, it applies to these math problems because just because I solve it one way and you solve it another way doesn't mean it's wrong. Now, are there more efficient ways to solve problems? Yes, that's why we're here. However, I don't even solve it the most efficient way every time. I can promise you that. So what I need you to understand is that's okay, all right? So conceptually, some of you are going to be better with a picture and some of you are going to be better with algebra. I'm going to do algebra first. So method 1. Algebra. I can literally take this, translate it into an algebraic expression and figure out the whole volume and then figure out how much we would need to fill it to capacity. So the volume of the entire thing we already figured out, right? We already figured out how to solve the volume down here. So I can take 127.17, do all of that all over again, right? And then I can take it one step further and figure out what 1/4 of that is. So if this piece is 3/4, then this piece is 1/4 to make a whole, right? Elementary people, that was for you. If I've got 3/4 of the way full, how many quarters do I need to fill it all the way up? 1 more quarter. So if this is the volume of the entire thing and I only need 1/4 more, I can divide my 169.56 by 4 to get what 1/4 of my whole volume is, right? So let's go ahead and do 169.56 divided by 4. That gives us 42.39. Bada bing, bada boom. However, there's one more way that we can solve this. We can also solve this by looking at the picture. So if this is 127.17, and that is 3/4, I could divide that into my quarters, could I not? So let's go ahead and divide it out. There's 1/4. There's 2/4. So this is 1/4. This is 2/4. This is 3/4. And this is 4/4. Following? Now, if the yellow is 127, how many equal pieces is the yellow divided into? 3. So 1/4 of my total volume is the same as 1/3 of 3/4 of my volume, right? I'm going to say that again. 1/4 of the total volume is going to be the same as 1/3 of 127. So literally, if I do 127.17 divided by 3, I get the exact same answer. And honestly, when I developed this problem, I solved it like this. I didn't think of this way that I just showed you until just now. So the more you look at a problem, the more you're exposed to problems, the more you think of different ways to solve problems. Pretty cool. All right, problem number 3. Someone specifically asked for student errors, pedagogy, all of that. So this is a pedagogy problem that you would likely see on like a 4th through 8th or 6th through 12th course, okay? And I will zoom in so that you can see it. A class was presented with the following problem. 2 parentheses, 1/4 x minus 8 equals 12. 4 students solved the problem using different methods to solve the equation. Which of the following students solved the problem incorrectly and what was the error? And this should say select all that apply. And then it goes through student A, student B, student C, and student D are all incorrect. And then why? It says student A used the multiplicative inverse property incorrect, resulting in an incorrect answer. Student B used the division property of equality incorrect. Student C used the distributive property incorrect. And student D used the division property of inequality incorrect. And I just dropped my pencil on the floor. So let's go ahead and look at A, B, and C. Now, I have told you this once, and I'll tell you it again. When I'm looking for student errors, I will solve the problem myself, and if I'm confident in how to solve the problem, and then I will look for student errors. Okay, so let's do that first. 2 times 1/4 x minus 8 equals 12. Are there a lot of different ways that I could solve this problem? Yes. I'm going to do it the way I'm most comfortable with, okay? I am going to divide both sides by 2. And I'm left with 1/4 x minus 8 equals 6. Add 8 to both sides. 1/4 x equals 14. Divide both sides by 1/4, which really just means that we're multiplying by the reciprocal. So we're multiplying both sides by 4/1. So x equals 56. Now, I'm going to look at my answer choices. Just because they got the answer correct doesn't mean they solved it correct. However, let's take a look at it. A. 2 parentheses, here's my original problem. It looks like they multiplied both sides by 1/2, which is the same as dividing by 2, so check, they did that. 1/4 x minus 8 equals 6. They added 8 to both sides to get the 14 and multiplied by 4. That's exactly how I did it, so student A is correct. So I can cross off Student A is incorrect because student A was not incorrect. Student A was correct. Letter B. It looks like from here to here, they used the distributive property. So 2 times 1/4 is 1/2. 2 times -8 is -16. But they got an answer of x equals 40. I know that B is incorrect at this point. I don't really need to figure out the error because all it says is that they are incorrect, right? Now, could the test writers say student B was incorrect and then give the incorrect error? They could, but then you would see multiple like student Bs. So you might see student B solved incorrect, they used the distributive property wrong. Student B was incorrect, they used the multiplicative inverse incorrect. And then you would have to see how many errors student B made. But because each student only has one error, I can pretty much assume that this is going to be a correct answer because they got the wrong answer, right? Now, if I was in a rush, I would pick B and D and I would move on. Why? Because student D got an answer of x equals 80 and student C got an answer of x equals 56. And because student C got the correct answer, could they have an error still? Yes, I have seen plenty of times where a student solves a problem and they make an error, but they got lucky that what their error was didn't affect their answer. So could that be correct? Yes, that could happen. But what I'm saying is if I was in a rush, I would pick B and D and I would move on because both of those students have the wrong answer. Now, let's take a look at why. B. Student B solved the problem incorrect. They used the division property of inequality incorrect. Well, let's take a look at that. They multiplied by 2/1 or divided by 1/2, either one, but they only did it to this piece right here. And when we multiply or divide to solve a 2-step or a 3-step or a whatever step equation, if the variable is not isolated and we still have addition and subtraction happening, we need to do it to everything. So because they didn't do it to the 16, they used that property incorrect, resulting in the wrong error. Had they done it to the 16, we'd be in a different boat because then we would have 16 times 2. I'm using my calculator so I don't make a computational error. Plus 24 results in 56. All right, let's look at letter C. It looks like they used the distributive property, but in this case, they multiplied by 2 to everything, resulting in the correct answer. So they did the exact same strategy student B did, they just did it correctly. All right, letter D. So in this situation, it looks like they divided by 2 on both sides. But then what they also did was they divided the parentheses by 2. So this person took the division property of inequality too far. If the factor has already been pulled out of the parentheses, you don't divide everything by it. You only divide this piece because it's considered one big factor. You don't divide everything. So in this case, the individual used the the division property or the multiplication property of inequality or of equality incorrect as well. Those are tongue twisters right there. All right, that was a lot of words for a math problem. That was a lot of words for a math problem. Let's move on to problem number 4. All right. Again, a few people specifically requested geometry and coordinate planes. So here we go. A quadrilateral is drawn. Oh, And someone requested distance formula, hence why we have this problem. A quadrilateral is drawn on an XY coordinate plane with the coordinate points listed below. A is at 2, 6. B is at -3, 4. C is at -2, -5. And D is at 2, 3. Which of the following represents the distance on the side or of the side represented by line segment AB? So here's a question for you. How much of that information is useless for this problem? Almost all of it. Now, some of you I already know, you're graphing it. And that's okay. Normally I would say draw a picture. And I'll show you why you don't need to draw a picture in a minute. But let's go ahead and draw it, because I think it's actually really important that we go over coordinate planes for everybody in the room, K-12. So I'm going to draw my coordinate plane, and I'm going to do my tick marks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hopefully we don't need to go past 6. And A is at 2, 6. So because it's positive, when I'm looking at my X and my Y axis, X lays horizontal, Y lays vertical. And I'm looking at my ordered pairs, X always comes before Y, because X always comes before Y in the alphabet. So you're going to go right to left before you go up or down. You need to get to the elevator before you can get on the elevator to go up or down. So I'm going to go +2 because this is the origin where the X and Y axis intersect. And positive is to the right. Negative is to the left, just like it would be on a number line. And then positive would be up on the y-axis, and negative is going to be down on the y-axis. And that's kind of like self-explanatory, right? So +2, get to the elevator. Before I get on the elevator, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here's A. -3. So I'm going to go in the negative direction. Left 3 on the x-axis. 1, 2, 3, up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. -2, -5. So I'm going to go left 2, down 5. And I'm going to go +2, +3. And I'm going to connect my dots. All right, there's my quadrilateral. Now, all the work that I just did there, was it necessary? It wasn't. Why wasn't it necessary? Because the question asked, which of the following represents the distance represented by the line segment AB? So I'm only looking at AB, and I'm only looking at the distance between the two of them. And because it is not parallel to my axis, which means it's going at an angle, I can't just count coordinate points. Watch. I cannot go. B is right here. A is right here. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I cannot do that because the distance this way is not the same distance as this. This and this are not the same distance. Okay? Well, with my arms, they are, because my arm is the same length. But if I have a line like this, and then I have a line like that, this is not the same length as this. And I challenge you to use some yarn to prove it to yourself. So that said, I need to use the distance formula. What is the distance formula? The distance formula is D equals the square root of x minus x squared plus y. And there goes my iPad. We made it almost 40 minutes without my iPad disconnecting. Those of you who are here with me every week know that this is a chronic problem. The tech team has come and sat through some of my sessions, and we cannot figure out why my iPad does this. So we're just going to hang out while we wait for my iPad to reconnect. Fun stuff. So the distance formula is the square root of x minus x squared plus y minus y squared. So when we look at that formula, I know that we were so close. I love those of you who are here and you get it. We were so close, Chelsea Lynn. So A is 2, 6. B is negative 3, 4. So I'm literally just going to plug those points into my distance formula. Now, does it matter which order you do it in? It does not matter what order you do it in. What I will say is that if I use the 2 first in the x's, I have to use the 6 first because I have to stay consistent with what point I do first. So distance equals the square root of, I'm going to start with the 2. 2 minus negative 3 squared, and you notice that I wrote every single bit of that, plus 6, because I started with the 2, I'm going to start with the 6, minus 4 squared. What does a negative and a negative make? A positive. So this equals the square root of 2 plus 3 squared plus 6 minus 4 squared. And I'm actually going to bring this down here. Oop, I did not mean to paste that. I'm just running out of room up here. Equals the square root, 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 6 minus 4 is 2. So 5 squared is 25. 2 squared is 4. So this is going to equal the square root of 29. So the distance is the square root of 29. Now, if I plugged that in my calculator, you'll notice that it's really close to 5. It's 5.385, blah, 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 blah. But really close doesn't count in this kind of situation. So picking 5 would absolutely be the incorrect choice. Okay? Questions? Questions about anything I've done tonight? As I finish out, we've only got about 20 minutes left. As I finish out, I want you to think, what else do you want to see me go over in the upcoming weeks? Okay? Be thinking of that. All right, problem number 5. This problem. Okay, this problem, if you are on our social media page, the Learning Liaisons Customer Hub, you know that this problem, or you might have seen this problem going back and forth. There were some people discussing it, trying to figure out what the answer is. Probability in this situation is conceptually hard to wrap your mind around. I'm going to be 100% frank with you. Probability and statistics are not my strength. Did I get through math in school? Yes. Did I pass AP Calculus with flying colors? Yes. Statistics and probability? Absolutely not. Not my strength. But I'm telling you right now, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So let's explore this problem. The probability that event A will occur is 0.5. The probability that event B will occur is 0.6. And the probability that both event A and event B will occur is 0.4. What is the probability that neither event A nor event B will occur? Okay, so there are some formulas that you need to understand if you are taking upper level 6 through 12 math. This is for you. you have to understand some basic probability formulas. So the probability, and I'm just going to do like a little notes section over here. Notes. The probability of A and B happening equals probability of A times probability of B. And that's how that's read, okay? The probability of A or B happening is the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B happening. Do you need to understand why that formula is the way it is? Not really. You just need to know these formulas. And the probability of the event not occurring is 1 minus the probability of the event equals the event not occurring. Elementary people, you don't need this. So just tune me out for 2 seconds. So I am literally going to reread this problem and figure out what we're asking. Okay? The probability that event A will occur is 0.5. The probability that event B will occur is 0.6. The probability that A and B is 0.4. That and is critical. What is the probability that A nor B will occur? I'm going to use this one right here because it's a or formula. I want to know the probability of A or B not occurring. But what I'm going to find out is the probability of A or B occurring, and then use the 1 minus to figure out the probability of A or B not occurring, right? So the probability of A or B occurring equals probability of A plus probability of B minus probability of A and B. So probability of A, yellow. Probability of B, blue. Probability of A and B, pink. Plug it all in. So 0.5 plus 0.6 minus 0.4. I'm going to move left to right. So 0.5 plus 0.6 is 1.1 minus 0.4 equals 0.7. But I'm not done. That is the probability of A or B occurring. What is the probability of it not occurring? I need to do 1 minus 0.7, which gives me 0.3. If any of my people who were going back and forth about this problem on Facebook, if that does not make sense, let me know. If that does not make sense, let me know. And I am actually going to screen capture this and post it to that Facebook page as well. Done. Just took a picture. All right. This is another problem that I decided to throw in tonight because it went off on Facebook. And I was like, ooh, I need to throw this one in there. Denise, do not beat yourself up over that. I'm telling you, like, it's hard, okay? And I literally had to go watch a video to figure out how to solve that, okay? Like I said, probability is not my thing, which is why I didn't want to just answer it on Facebook. I wanted to be able to process it, figure it out, and then verbally explain it. All right, if line A is represented by the equation y equals negative 2/5 x plus 3, which of the following equations could represent line B? Here's the problem. We immediately assume these are perpendicular lines, and they are not. We immediately assume these are perpendicular lines, and they are not. Could they be? Sure, they could be, but there is nothing in this problem that is telling us it's a perpendicular line. If it said, line A is represented by the equation blah, 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 which of the following equations could represent line B, which is perpendicular to line A? Then we would know it's perpendicular. Or it could have the 90-degree square, something like that, to show that it's perpendicular. But because neither of those things are there, we have to go based on what we know. What do I know about this problem? I know that A has a negative slope. Now, I'm telling you right now, if you understand linear equations, this problem is going to take you no time at all, okay? This problem should not take you the amount of time I'm about to take explaining it, right? I answered this problem in probably 20, 30 seconds because I understand linear equations. What I'm about to do is do a deep dive into this problem so you understand the why. It should not take you this long to solve this problem if you understand linear expressions, okay? I know what I know. I know line A has a negative slope. Why? Visually, I know it, and it has a negative slope right here. When I read a graph, I read it from left to right. And someone said that on Facebook, and I got so happy that that stuck in their brain. I read a graph from left to right. So I'm reading it this way, which means that this line is going down, which means it has a negative slope. And this line is going up, which means it has a positive slope. Line B, positive slope. So I'm going to go and I'm going to eliminate all of my answer choices that says that line B has a negative slope, which is C and D. So it's either 5/2 x plus 3 or 3x plus 4. Now, I did change this problem just slightly from the original problem. Could these lines be perpendicular? Yes, I'm not saying they can't. What I'm saying is we have to use other information to prove why, other than that, unless they tell us it's perpendicular. What is the y-intercept of line A? Line A, y-intercept equals 3, which is right here. If this equals 3, what do we know about this dot right here? It's not 4, it's not 5, it's not 6. We don't know that. But what we know, it has to be greater than 3. Because it's not sitting on top of the 3. It does not, line B does not intersect line A at the y-intercept. Line B intersects line A in quadrant 2. Elementary people, you need to know that. And hits the y-axis above the value of 3. So my y-intercept can't be 3. It has to be greater than 3, which is why my answer is B, which is why this is a decoy. Does that make sense? If you have any questions about that, please let me know. I'm going to go ahead and move on to problem number 7. I just want to make sure I hit everything that was requested. last week, and it looks like I've pretty much hit it. So we're going to move on to question number 7. A warehouse ships furniture in certain combinations to retailers throughout the country. The weight of 2 bookshelves and 3 nightstands is 151 pounds. The weight of 3 bookshelves and 4 nightstands is 219.5 pounds. What is the weight of a bookshelf and nightstand? When I see a problem like this, I immediately think system of equations. I immediately think of system of equations because what I have are 2 unknowns. When I have 2 unknowns in a problem, I need to do a system. So B is going to equal bookshelf. No, it's going to equal weight of 1 bookshelf. N is going to equal the weight of 1 nightstand. And now I'm going to literally take what they've written for me and translate it into an algebraic equation. 2 bookshelves and 3 nightstands is 151 pounds. 3 bookshelves and 4 nightstands is 219.5 pounds. Now, I can do substitution or elimination. This is not set up well for elimination or substitution. So I'm going to use elimination. Why is it not set up well for elimination? Because I would have to do multiple steps to get a variable by itself. Because I would have to do multiple steps to get a variable by itself, I might as well just eliminate. If it was something like this, I would substitute because it gave me the N. But because it's not, I'm going to go for elimination. But I can't eliminate anything based on the way it's set up right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this top equation by 3 and the bottom equation by 2 and distribute. So I get 6b plus 9n equals 453. And I get 6b plus 8n equals 439. And I'm going to subtract these, which means this is going to be subtracted, this is going to be subtracted, and this. That subtraction has to be distributed. Chris, excellent question. I love that you just asked me that. I picked 3 and 2 because 3 times 2 is going to give me 6, and 2 times 3 is going to give me 6, and then I can eliminate them when I subtract the equations, hence elimination. I could have picked 4 and 3 and eliminated the n. If it was set up like this is pretend. Then I would only have to multiply the bottom, because I could multiply the bottom by 2 and get 6, which would eliminate the 6 b's. So it's really a matter of finding a factor that can eliminate one of my variables. And I'm going to erase this just because I don't want people to get confused. That was a great question. Did my answer make sense? All right, 6 minus 6 is 0. 9 minus 8 is 1. And 453 minus 439 equals 14. Now, I literally can plug that into either equation to find the weight of a bookshelf because the question asked, what is the weight of a bookshelf and nightstand? So, 2b plus 3 times 14 equals 151. 14 times 3 is 42. 2b plus 42 equals 151. Subtract 42 from both sides. 2b equals 109. Divide both sides by 2. b equals 54.5. And because we need a nightstand and a bookshelf, our answer is going to be 68.5. All right, let's go back to the beginning. What do you want to see me review next week? I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. A. I'm going to monitor the comments for things that you want to see next week. So I'm going to give it back over to Dr. A to close this out, but let me know in the comment box what you want to see me go over next week, and I will see you all next week. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you then.
All right, so wasn't that an amazing session? Now, I know, depending on what exam you have to take, you're like, man, that was great, but she didn't address everything I needed. She focused on all different questions, and I just need elementary, or I just need middle school, I just need high school. Don't worry. Since you're still with us, I've got a special surprise for you. If you use the coupon code, all capital letters, SINK35, that's SINK 35. That will take off 35% off any of our prep courses on our website at the Learning Liaisons. Doesn't have to just be math. It could be anything that you need that we offer. And this is going to be an ongoing deal for you guys who attend these live sessions because these are great. I'm sure Amy opened your eyes to some new concepts, some new ways to tackle problems, building that confidence. But this is just a smidget of your exam, the concepts on your test. So if you want the comprehensive view with the practice with Amy, with the practice test, with the lessons and the content review, we've got your back on our video boot camps, which all of them feature Amy Sink, your math specialist. So if you want to take advantage of that, the code is SINK35. You can use that at checkout on the learningliaisons.com website. And all that information is on our website as well. And on the bottom of the screen in this video. So we are here to help you. Once again, always remember, it's when you pass, not if you pass. Thank you for joining us again today. And hopefully we'll see you next week too. Talk to you soon.